guys. This is Mike with Unique Wealth Education. I got an incredible guest today. He's actually outside of the box guest. He's very interesting. He is former NBA All-Star Danny Granger. So, Danny, welcome to the podcast. Thank you for being on.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. So, Danny, I got to ask you, this is a question that's going to come out, and I say, did you ever expect to be interviewed by Michael Jordan, Danny Granger?
No, I haven't. But this is a first, and I know Michael. I know the real Michael Jordan.
There you go. There you go. So you
cool.
know the real Michael Jordan.
Yes, I know the real Michael Jordan.
That's good. That's good. So, did you get to meet him throughout your years in the NBA? And,
throughout my years in the NBA, he's the owner for the Charlotte Hornets. A couple of years back, they almost made a trade, and then at another point, I met him just in passing at games and different NBA events. So,
yeah, definitely. Wow, his airiness is definitely, my favorite of all time. So that's incredible. That's incredible. Well, Danny, let's talk about you for a little bit here. You're quite, impressive. You played in the NBA. You're an all-star in the NBA. And tell me, how is it for you to make that transition from being a pro athlete, an NBA player, an all-star, into a professional real estate investor and businessman?
Well, Mike, it wasn't terribly hard for me. I came from a very academic background. My original major was civil engineering. And so I already had a technical background for design and construction. So naturally, that desire never quite left me. So even when I was playing, I always had a desire to get back into that realm. And real estate seemed like the great option, especially considering everything that happened in 2008.
So is that when you really decided to jump into real estate, when you seen an opportunity, even when you were in the NBA, you seen an opportunity, you just jumped in?
Well, yeah, I've always been opportunistic in business ideas. And when that happened, I was in a great market in Indianapolis.
Right.
And we took a hit value-wise, but not as hard as some of the other areas in the country. And, I was in the midst of my career. I was in my prime, so I was making a lot of money, had a lot of cash.
Yeah.
And I thought this would be the best time for me to kind of get my hands wet and also to be able to make mistakes and not really have to not have a bank behind me or an investor behind me. It was all my own money. I could start small. And we started that way, and we learned a lot throughout those first few years.
Danny, you serve as a great example for many, many real estate investors out there and athletes out there on how to get started, in real estate, because really you took your technical background, you plugged it into, real estate, which is a lot of facts and logic and making the right decisions at the right time. But also I commend you because you took a lot of money that you're making millions and millions of dollars, and you put it somewhere that's in a tangible investment, which is going to grow and do you really well.
Yeah, exactly, Michael. And I've had, my personal portfolio was always very diversified. I had a lot of financial advisors, and I was smart with my money. One thing I didn't I didn't love the fact that, when I would invest in the stock market, whether it be equities, bonds, here and there, I really didn't have too much control over that. That's kind of a whole different world of understanding that stuff. And I understand it to a limited degree, but I wanted somewhere I could put my money where I could understand exactly what was going on from beginning to end. I could see the money in real estate. It was just the greatest opportunity for me.
Danny, I love the tangibility of real estate, and that's why I started investing in real estate myself. I feel that you can touch it, you can feel it. It's an asset class. And, if you make your money on the buy, and you also, I tell investors, you keep it when you're dealing with the right people. So right. I think that's really, a wise move for a lot of people to not only invest in the stock market, but, a lot of people have lost so much money in the stock market.
Mm-hmm.
In real estate, you have something to fall back on, which is tangible. There's rental income that comes out of it. You could sell it. You could borrow on it. So there's an advantage there. Let me ask you, what advice would you give to to people that want to get started in real estate based on the experience that you've had, and what advice would you give to other athletes and professionals that want to get started in real estate?
My biggest advice would be to talk to somebody that knows more than you do. It's never looked down upon to be humble and to have the desire to want to learn. I had the fortunate position because I played in the NBA at a very high level. I was very visible, and I had been approached with every business opportunity from a pipeline in Africa to uh, to a restaurant to this concept to everything. We get approached with all these business deals. And when I kind of fell into real estate, I had the opportunity to partner with guys that had made a lot more money than I had, and I thought that was always important because I didn't have a lot to offer them. They just kind of liked to work with me. I was young, I was hungry, and a lot of these real estate developers, big time real estate developers, they kind of took me under their wing and helped me along. I partnered with deals in some of them. And throughout that process, I mean, I learned so much. I mean, I remember my first negotiation with a bank for, we was doing a refi on a big property, and one of my business partners flew in, and came and sat in the meeting with me. This was years and years ago, and he really went at the banker. We ended up getting a loan. So, and, it's just I've learned so much from other people. So that would be my biggest piece of advice to people. If you want to get into real estate and you want to do it, you have to either partner with someone who knows what they're doing, or be willing to make a lot of mistakes. There's nothing wrong with making mistakes. Just
Sure.
know if you go at it alone, you'll make some mistakes. You may lose some money, and you probably will learn from them. But you could really limit a lot of those mistakes if you partner with someone.
Absolutely. So right there, what I got from it and the listeners will get from it is really surround yourself with the right people.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe have a mentor. Maybe your first, several or many deals, work with someone on it to learn the ins and outs of it so you could
Mm-hmm.
avoid some pitfalls. But if you do make pitfalls, learn from them
Learn
because
from them.
yeah, absolutely. I always made a statement earlier in my life when I would make mistakes because I've made a lot of them. I would say you don't know what you don't know until you know what you know.
That's
And
right.
and I know that sounds like a little bit of a tongue twister, but at the end of the day, we actually, as real estate investors, as businessmen, and in life in general, you learn by making mistakes.
That's
And
right.
we don't do it purposely, but if it can make us better, it's not in vain. So that's very important. Danny, I know that you own a company and it's grangerbrown.com. Is that correct?
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay, and what you do is right now you provide turnkey rental homes in Indianapolis and Phoenix to investors. So if they're a passive investor and they want to come buy from you, they can go to your website, they could contact your office, and you guys can show them what homes you have. Is that correct?
Exactly. That's exactly right. We have a lot of our inventory online at our website. We've walked many investors through the Indianapolis market that came in to see the homes, see our business operations. So we'll definitely do that as well.
Excellent.
And yeah, that's our main business model at this point.
Excellent, excellent. So do you currently have inventory where if investors wanted to get involved in the Phoenix or Indianapolis market, they could contact you guys right now?
Yes, we do. We currently do have inventory. We're always acquiring.
Good,
And
good.
we're always in the process of having more capital and expanding the business. And we're only in those two markets now, and we really just trying to really perfect them, especially in Indianapolis, because we just know it so well,
Yeah.
before we really expand. But as of now, those are the two markets, correct?
Well, I love that, I love someone that tries to perfect what they're doing. I love that philosophy because I always say focus means follow on course until successful. And a
Yeah.
lot of people spread themselves out too thin. And what they do is that they get hurt. So,
Mm-hmm.
the listeners, piece of advice that you can hear from, someone who's been incredibly successful like Danny Granger, not only as a professional athlete, but in real estate too, is that focus on an area, on a market. Maybe even if you're a wholesaler or a fix and flipper or a rental home aggregator, someone who's holding rental homes, focus on that area until you really perfect it, and then move on. Because I think spreading yourself out thin sometimes really ends up hurting people. So that's a really good piece of advice, and I
Yes.
appreciate, and the audience does too. Well, Danny, we appreciate you being on here. What we love to do is bring on successful people for the listeners to listen to, and people are going to take your advice to heart because you're someone that has made it in both the professional athlete realm as well as the real estate realm. So that's huge. And we hope to have you back on the show in another 6 months or a year, and tell us how your business is going. Tell us where you're at.
Right.
Tell us, what's new, and our listeners will reach out to you, and hopefully they'll come out, visit your operation, and they'll be able to get some good product from you.
Awesome, Michael. Thank you for having me, and definitely I will be back.
Thank you, Danny. I appreciate it, and enjoy your day.
You too.
Take care. Bye-bye.